Liana Daghbashyan and you're watching the news broadcast on the state television company of Western Armenia. Today's broadcast: an earthquake in Van province, Western Armenia. Modular city block was installed in Stepanakert for Russian peacekeepers, Russian Defense Ministry. A Requiem service in Javakhk in the memory of victims of the Artsakh war. 7 more trucks delivering humanitarian aid from Russia have arrived in Artsakh. An ancient cemetery was discovered during the excavations in Constantinople. Today is the day of commemoration of Garegin Nzhdeh. At 7:32 on December 20, an earthquake with 4.4 magnitude shook the province of Van in Western Armenia. According to the Office of Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency, the quake occurred in the area of Pashkale. The epicenter was reported at a depth of 12.95 kilometers. No victims or damage were reported. The construction of a modular city block for the deployment of 250 Russian peacekeepers has been completed in Stepanakert, the capital of Nagorno-Karabakh. The statement given by the Russian Defense Ministry says, "The construction of a block modular city in Nagorno-Karabakh for the deployment of 250 Russian peacekeepers in Stepanakert has been completed. At the moment, we are coming close to the end of commissioning of engineering equipment." It is mentioned that the block modular city includes residential modules, a gym, an aid station, an entertainment room, a headquarters, a cellar, a food warehouse, sanitary modules, a room for storing weapons and engineering equipment, etc. A Requiem service was held in the Holy Cross Church in Archeological on December 20, in memory of victims of the Artsakh war. This was reported by the press service of the Javakhk General Diocese. On Sunday, at the end of Holy and Immortal Liturgy, Father Narek Tigranyan, the pastor of the Holy Cross Church, performed a Requiem service for the peace of the souls of heroes killed during the Artsakh war. Believers prayed to God for the return of the captured soldiers and for the healing of the wounded. The newly elected member of the Georgian Parliament, Samvel Manukyan, and the deputy mayor of Archeological, Armen Marangosyan, were among the many believers present at the Requiem service. 7 more trucks delivering humanitarian aid from Russia have arrived in Artsakh. As reported by Armen Press, the Artsakh State Emergency Service reports. Specialists of the Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations unloaded 7 railway carriages carrying the aid. The humanitarian aid will be distributed to different settlements in Artsakh. This is the second batch of the humanitarian aid provided by Russia. At this moment, 9 out of 54 wagons have arrived. Earlier, it was reported that the Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations will send 54 tons of 1.2 thousand tons of humanitarian aid to the Republic of Artsakh. A mausoleum was discovered during archaeological excavations near the Haydar Pasha railway station in Constantinople. Archaeologists are trying to solve the mystery of the structure and its architecture, which was supposed to be a sacred site. Discoveries of this kind shed light especially on the history of Chalcedon. Archaeologists conducting the excavations note, there is not any known complex structure having the shape of a semicircle and containing mass graves. There is not a church. The floor of the building is covered with marble blocks laid straight and very carefully. All this makes us think that this place is a sanctuary and that it has been used for religious purposes. Almost 18,000 coins found during excavations provide information on the history of Chalcedon from the before Common area 7th century to our days. This is the first time that Chalcedonian coins belonging to the classical period have been found during systematic archaeological excavations. Garegin Nzhdeh studied at the Russian 7-year school in Nakhichevan, then at the Russian gymnasium in Tbilisi at the St. Petersburg University. In 1907, he graduated from the Sofia Officers School, joined the Armenian Revolutionary Federation Party, and left it in 1937. In 1908, he returned to the Caucasus. In 1909, he was arrested by the Tsarist police. In 1912, he was released from prison and left for Bulgaria. He took part in the First Balkan War. He formed an Armenian volunteer detachment together with Andranik and fought against the Turks as part of the volunteering union of the Bulgarian army. During the First World War, he was appointed as deputy commander of the 2nd Volunteer Regiment Dro. He moved to Alexandropol in 1916 after closing the volunteer regiments. In 1918, he took part in the Battle of Gharakilisa with the 100th Cavalry. He was the commander of the armed forces of Zangezur from October 1919, which in November resisted the Turkish Tatar troops. Nzhdeh liberated Kapan, Sisyan, and Goris in September-November 1920. On December 25, the autonomy of Syunik was proclaimed. Nzhdeh was elected as the commander of Syunik. In July 1921, after receiving permission to annex Syunik to Soviet Armenia, Nzhdeh left for Iran in a small contingent, leaving for Sofia in 1922. He lived in the United States from 1942 to 1944, where he developed the tribal religious doctrine and started the movement of the same name. Nzhdeh was arrested after the Soviet army entered Bulgaria on October 10, September 1944. He was transferred to Bucharest, then to Moscow, and was imprisoned in Lubyatinka prison. He was sentenced to 24 years in prison in November 1946. In 1948, he was transferred to Vladimir prison, where he died and was buried in the cemetery next to the prison. In 1983, Nzhdeh's body was secretly transferred to Yerevan, a relic of which was buried on the slope of Khushub, and in 1987 in the yard of Spitakavor Saint Astvatati Monastery. On April 26, 2005, part of the body was buried in the Kapan for military honors, where a memorial to Nzhdeh was created. Now we present you a song Gharib Akhber by Hayrik Muradyan.
Hayrik nasat im hayrenyat pushenanushe kanzvart yesain pashat mecha
The full version of the song is available on the YouTube channel of Western Armenia TV. This was all for today. Goodbye.